All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to talk about that Bitcoin halving and how it's, well, pretty much confirmed a sell the news type thing, which I don't think is a surprise to most people, maybe some of you, even though I've said it numerous times that likely somewhere along the line we'd end up having a big dip, either near the halving or I would have thought after the halvening, but you know what? Those whales just getting a little bit of the head of the game and selling that news for you. So we were at 10,000 Bitcoin pretty briefly. CoinMarketCap doesn't show it so much as this is more of an average of exchanges, but definitely on like Coinbase and some other things, we were over 10,000 for a little while. And then all of a sudden in one fell swoop, the whales say, no, if you may not have $10,000 plus Bitcoin and slashed it. Now on like Coinbase and things like that, it got down to 8,100. This one only shows 85, 8,400, but we lost well over $1,000 in just pretty much one quick sell order as somebody sold off their Bitcoin before that selling became the news. Just to help you out a little bit there. So again, not really surprising as the Bitcoin halving wasn't really going to do much for the average user of Bitcoin, even the average trader. There's already greater than 80% of Bitcoin in circulation. I'll get to that in just a second. And show you and tell you basically why the halvening really wasn't ever going to be that special. Now, in a year down the line, this supply decrease will actually start to have an effect. So it's not going to be anytime soon, at least 6 months, year down the line. And then further halvenings really aren't going to be that much special right away either. Now, the first two halvenings, after about 6 months or so, the price started to increase. But I argue that that's, because Coinbase coming out earlier on in like 2013, I think. And then, of course, in 2017, just about 6 months after the halvening, we had BitConnect and we had all those things that were raising the price and ICOs, etc. So Bitcoin price tanks by 15% in 10 minutes, causing $226 million of liquidations on BitMEX. So obviously people thought the price was going to continue going up. Bitcoin fell from 9,500 to 8,100 on Saturday, posting 14.6% loss in just 10 short minutes. Now, if you're on some exchanges, that was even bigger than that, as I remember on Coinbase, I remember even tweeting, hey, we're back over 10,000. How long is it going to last? Apparently not that long. But $226 million in liquidations. So now going on to one of my favorite pages, the Bitcoin Controlled Supply Wiki, shows it in a really nice, concise manner. You can see the first halvening brought us 50% of the total Bitcoin. It brought us 10.5 million Bitcoin. And the first halvening occurred in, I think, November 2012. The second halvening occurred in 2016, I think like June or July, in the middle of 2016. And again, so about 6 months later in 2017, that's when BitConnect came along and started really shooting up the price. Everybody was just desperately buying Bitcoin for ICOs, this, that, the other thing. And that brought us an additional 25% of the supply, bringing us up to a 75% total supply of Bitcoin ever created. And then we have our third halvening that we're currently in until basically tomorrow, which brought us another 12% of Bitcoin supply. So by the time this halvening is over tomorrow, we should have 18.375 million Bitcoin. And we can see here on CoinMarketCap that we're about 372,000 Bitcoin. So just a few thousand more Bitcoin and the halvening will be complete. Now, what does that mean, really? It just means that every halvening is producing less Bitcoin. You might think, well, that's a really good thing, and it is. Long term, we're going to see bigger prices in Bitcoin because of the supply. But it just goes to show that each halvening is going to be less significant than the last halvening, because this one, 50% of all the Bitcoin, and when you slash that in half for the second reward era, now you're only receiving 25 Bitcoin, a reduction of 25, and then a reduction of only 12.5, and then 6.25, et cetera, et cetera. So they're becoming less relevant over time, and which I think I'm probably the only person that's ever going to say that, really, because all the Bitcoin is already there. So once we're done with this halving, 87.5 Bitcoin percent of all Bitcoin is in existence. So that means it's on exchanges, it's in institutional hands, it's in your hands, in your wallets. So there's really not much to slash at this point. Really only 12.5% of Bitcoin remaining of all time. And that will take over 100 years to even get. So eventually the halvings do become less relevant because all the Bitcoin is already there. It's not like because we're about to go through a halving, all of a sudden there's going to be no Bitcoin. Well, 87% of Bitcoin, it's already there on the blockchain. It's already there on the exchanges and in your wallets, whatever. So it's not really a surprise. It's really not a surprise that people aren't taking this one as crazy as people thought that they would. Like a year ago, people couldn't wait for the Bitcoin halving, and now, again, some people can't wait for it. But I think we're starting to see real quick that it's really not going to give us that 20,000 that we thought it would, or that 15,000 price to Bitcoin. It's just not that important in the short term. Moving on to some news that angered a lot of people. Coinbase experiences partial outage just as crypto plunges. So crypto market goes down in 12%, it says to this article, but it 15% or more, depending on what exchange you were on, really, or what candle you were watching, I suppose. U.S.-based exchange Coinbase experienced partial outage once again. Just 1 week ago, Coinbase experienced an outage as Bitcoin skyrocketed over 12% an hour. So Bitcoin going down, Coinbase going down all the time, so conveniently when Bitcoin is either rocketing 12% or going down 12%, etc. So it seems to me that they're turning it off whenever. Now I don't know if this actually applies to Coinbase Pro or not. I was not trading at the time, but it's just going down for everybody whenever it's going up or down. Greater than 10%. It's almost like they have a system right now to protect prices, which you could agree that that's a good thing or a bad thing. Now, the stock market does that. If the stock market goes down something like 7%, they shut it down for 15 minutes. And then if it goes down another like 7% or 5% or something like that, they shut it down another 15 minutes. And then if it goes down, I think like something like 15% for the day, they shut down trading for the day. And they'll just come back tomorrow and start again. Which again, you could argue is a good or a bad thing. And just to show you, nobody's liking this. Coinbase always down at the most convenient time. Here's a better error page for them. And Coinbase is down again on Reddit. Another post complaining about Coinbase being down. Another post complaining about Coinbase being down. And yet another one. So them going down at this time is just not a good look at all, whereas other exchanges are doing just fine. But some people were making some interesting comments. I don't remember which one it is, but everyone was just complaining about how much KYC, the runaround process, how so many pictures they have to give. But this one person, I really like this person's comment, because before that they were saying, all this insane KYC process running around, making me their partner, yada, yada, yada. What a hassle. And then somebody says, you should be glad they require all that steps. I wouldn't trust any exchange who just needs an email address. Mt. Gox, anybody? After my Mt. Gox experience, I totally agree. So again, it's sort of like a double-edged sword. Like, what are you going to go with? You're going to go with a KYC exchange, which sort of defeats the purpose of Bitcoin being anonymous and trying to be private and trying to be decentralized. Or are you going to go with an exchange that has no KYC, and sort of keeping the ideologies of crypto at least a little bit, even though it's sort of centralized, but and being more anonymous with just an exchange, with just an email on the exchange. But then as soon as the exchange goes down or they run away or something like that, you're totally screwed. There is nothing linking you to your money. So it's hard to say, but they bring up some good points. How can you trust an exchange with just an email address? Which is ironic, because I actually like trading on KuCoin. I haven't been since like the drama of KuCoin lately, of how how they're sort of in trouble for not really signing up correctly with their country that they operate in. So, ironic that I do that, but whenever I use an exchange that just requires an email, like Stacks or KuCoin or something like that, it's really for a specific purpose. I'm going to put my Bitcoin on here, I'm going to trade it for this coin, or I'm going to put this coin on here and trade it for Bitcoin, and I'm going to get it off there. That's usually my ideology with that. Whereas Coinbase or Coinbase Pro, if you have to keep coin on an exchange, honestly, it's probably your best bet statistically if they've never really been hacked, they've never lost a large amount of coin or anything like that. So again, that one is up to you. But Coinbase lately, just not doing so good. Hiring hackers, that spy on citizens, raising their fees constantly, going under as soon as Bitcoin plunges any kind of reasonable amount. And the thing is they don't have that would be acceptable if they had some sort of system which was public, and they're like, okay, if Bitcoin goes down 15%, we shut down for a little while, we shut down for a few minutes so that there's not too much slippage or anything like that. That's our policy. But they don't say that that's their policy, they just do it, which is really, we can't actually confirm that they're doing this every time that Bitcoin goes up and down like this, but lately it certainly has been, and speculation on that is all we got, again, because they don't make the information public. So moving on here to some interesting articles that just go to show how chaotic this actually is right now. Is the price going to go up with the halving? Is the price going to go down with the halving? Are we going to have a swift recovery with the halving? Who knows? Apparently, these traders don't know either. I usually actually avoid such articles like these analysis articles that show a little bit of TA and things like that. Now, you may enjoy TA. I'm not a big fan of it. I believe that you can get good at trading and you can get good at TA yourself and have good intuition. However, when you can go onto one website that says Bitcoin is going to drop to $4,000, and then when you can go onto another website or article, etc., that shows that Bitcoin is going to go skyrocket to 14,000. Well, something is a little bit off with somebody's TA there, and somebody is going to be correct in that 50-50. And then that person that's correct in that 50-50 coin toss is going to be, is going to be loved for their awesome TA, even though next time they're going to be wrong. So again, when you can go around and you can find it just all over the place, obviously it's not very scientific. Obviously, there is no correct way to do it if people are just throwing numbers out this way. So 2 + 2 is always 4, and if you find somebody that's 2 + 2 is 6, they're going to be the 1 out of a million people that were wrong with that mathematics, and you go, okay, we know that person's wrong, and we know that it's always this way. But when you find just articles flip-flopping all over the place, it makes it very difficult for people. So again, my thoughts on the halving is that nothing is really going to happen with this halving. Again, if you're a trader, if you're just a regular Joe, if you're anybody except for probably a big miner, and we're talking a warehouse filled with S9 miners, S15 or S17s, etc., miners, ASIC miners, it's not going to affect you. The only people it's going to affect are those miners, and they're going to receive half profits because half the Bitcoin is now coming in, and they're going to have to either hold on to their Bitcoin or wait to try and sell it at a higher price, etc. For now, most miners in the world are still going to be profitable. I think before this halving, I think it was profitable to be mining at $3,000 or $4,000. In most places in the world, even like $3,000. So as long as Bitcoin is at least like $6,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, everybody's going to be profitable. Maybe even lower than that, they'll still be profitable. However, again, for anybody else, it's just not going to matter. All the Bitcoin is still on the exchange. You're not going to go onto an exchange and just all of a sudden go, well, I can't find any Bitcoin. It's at $30,000. It's just not going to happen. Maybe in a year that supply crunch will actually finally start to take effect. But right now, 87% of the supply of Bitcoin is in circulation, or 83%, etc. What are we at? Like 87% of the supply of Bitcoin is in circulation. It's not going anywhere. Now, if you want to get real technical about it, some of that 87% is still lost, like the Satoshi 1 million coins, or people that have lost hard drives or Trezor wallets over the years. But for the most part, 87% of Bitcoin, nothing's gonna change that. So these simple factors suggest Bitcoin could see a sharp and swift recovery. So somebody thinks that just because Bitcoin, this is a dip of work, back at 9K and above soon, he said. And then he's just drawing these lines that just go up. So it's just like, where did you get this information? Like, why is it going to dip right here? Is it just like a natural thing that you just wanted to add to that? Is this just speculation? So again, it's just like, yeah, it's just going to come back. It's going to recover soon. Why not? And then this article, Bitcoin's poised to confirm a textbook factor predicting a $4,000 breakout. And then with the $4,000 breakout, it's now talking about Bitcoin is on its way to $14,000. So the title predicted a $4,000 breakout. Does it mean that's going to drop to $4,000? So again, confusing, makes no sense. Breakout target to 14K. I think they just got the title wrong on that one. So again, it's just all over the place. Analysts have called 2019's Bitcoin bottom predicts imminent drop to $6,400. So are these just clickbait? What analyst that predicted the imminent drop to $6,400? Was he reveled for this? I don't remember this person. So again, it's just like, you don't know. So now we're talking about the dip that just occurred, and they think it's going to go to $6,400. Accurate analyst could review $6,400. Accurate analyst, right? He could be correct, right? It could go to $6,400, but it just goes to show that there's just articles that are all over the place. This one's predicting 14,000. This one's predicting a fast recovery, whatever that even means. That we're going to go back to 10,000 soon. And then this one's predicting $6,400. So again, it's just all over the place. There's nothing that you can read that would actually help you with this. Really, the only thing that can help you is just practice on your own. If you're a trader, just practice. Try. But my advice to people who have never gotten into day trading Bitcoin is make an easy account, like a Coinbase account, and never use just Coinbase. I've made videos years ago talking about never use just Coinbase. Use Coinbase Pro, which it used to be called GDAX. Go on Coinbase Pro. Just put in something that you wouldn't really affect your life at all by putting money on there. So $100. If $100 isn't going to break you at all, if you're not even going to miss that $100, put $100 on there and then buy some Bitcoin. And then wait for it to go up a couple $100 and hit the sell button. And then, woo-wee, look, I made a couple bucks. Well, if you made a couple bucks with $100, you made 2% of your money. Now, making 2% in a day is insane. If you could make 2% a day, well, now you're really starting to look into some pretty good money. Even though you're just working with $100, 2% is 2%. Now, if you're working with $1,000, $10,000, $1 million, and you're making 2%, totally different story. So just practice with something small and, definitely educate yourself with the different charts. Definitely educate yourself with different TA. Try to get yourself mixed in it all and then keep your own opinion about things. Don't trust articles that are going to 6,400 or articles that are saying it's going to go to 14,000 because you could just be going either way there. So I have a lot of tips on trading. I'm a reasonable trader. I've never claimed to be an absolute expert. I've never lost much money when I'm trading. I always seem to make money, and I never really have much of a problem with trading. And again, just start off with like $100 and try to make a few bucks. If you made a few bucks, that's a few percent of your total wealth you could consider, and that's a lot of money. 3% doesn't seem like a lot, but if you would do that every couple days or something like that, that it really starts to add up pretty quick. So, coin market cap here, everything down an incredible amount, like something like 12 to 15%, pretty much everything across the board. And that's about all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys are watching the charts as carefully as possible. If you're hodl on. If you're trading, make sure you're careful because right now it's going to be really volatile. Who knows if it's going to go up or down with the halving. Everyone's going to be buying the rumor, selling the news, and it looks like the news has already been starting to sell. And this looks like a bunch of whale sell-off here. So who knows where it's going to go after this. But that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you're careful out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.